If you've been avoiding landscape painting because it seems too complex, then this video will change your mind. In this video, I'll be showing you how focusing on less actually gives you more beautiful landscapes. And I'll be breaking down the landscape into its essential elements to show you how achievable it really is. I'm painting a simple landscape here, outdoors in Otago in New Zealand. And even though I'm painting outdoors, this is just as applicable to the studio, so it's not essential that you paint outdoors at all. I just, for this painting, happened to be painting outdoors and thought this would be a great example of how you don't need to overcomplicate a landscape painting at all in order for it to be engaging and beautiful. Now, when I paint a landscape, the main thing that I always think about are the tonal values. So value is how light or dark your subject is. And we'll find our darkest darks and our lightest lights in the foreground, and then as landforms recede, the darks aren't as dark and the lights aren't as light. So right now with this painting, I've started off with the darkest shadows in the foreground, which is a mix of ultramarine blue with a bit of burnt sienna, a tiny bit of titanium white and a little bit of alizarin crimson. And then for the distant hills in the background and also the forest of trees that are also more towards the background, I've used the same colours but with more titanium white. So that makes the value of the colour lighter, so it sits back in the distance. I've also edged the mixture on the blue side as well, because I've noticed that shadows tend to have a blue cast to them, especially in New Zealand. Now I'm painting outdoors here, known as painting on plein air, and as I say, the way I paint outdoors is exactly the same way as I paint in the studio, and what I'm trying to do is paint my dark values first, paint the shadows first, and then it's not going to matter that the sun was actually rapidly moving and was almost setting by the time I finished this painting. At the time of painting this artwork, it was winter, so I didn't actually have that much daylight to work with, so I had to paint quickly. Now I'm painting the grass shadows here and the tree shadows, and I was using a mix of mainly ultramarine blue with some yellow ochre and a little bit of titanium white. So one of the things to think about with trees is they're generally some of the darkest values to be found in the landscape, and that's because there's often a lot of occlusion shadows there and trees generally have dark coloured foliage, with an exception. Some deciduous winter trees are a lot lighter, and you'll see that here because I've just started blocking those in. There's some poplars in the distance that had lost all their leaves, and I wanted to capture that in this painting. Now I'm painting in oils here, and the brand of paint I'm using is Blue Ridge Oils, and if you want to get some Blue Ridge Oils, I've put a link in the description box below. So what I'm doing here now is I'm painting the grass, and I'm using really loose gestural brush marks. So I'm using number 5 and number 3 bristle flat brushes. To mix those greens, I've used ultramarine blue with some yellow ochre, a little bit of cadmium yellow medium and titanium white, and then I've added colours such as cobalt teal, even phthalo green, which just helps to shift the hue of the colour and allows for some more emerald tones. And then I've also added a red element into the greens, so colours such as cadmium red light or alizarin crimson, but I've only used a small amount. Now the value of grass is generally a lot lighter than the value of trees, so this is something to consider, especially if you want your trees to stand out in the landscape. So the ground planes of the grass, as a general rule, are usually much lighter than the trees. Now, as you can see already, I started off the painting by painting my dark values first, because then it doesn't matter that the shadows move and the light moves, because it means I'm not chasing the light. And then once you've got your shadows established, it makes it easier to paint the areas in light afterwards and get the saturation of the colour correct and also the value of the colour correct. Now, as this is a plein air painting, I want to use loose gestural brush marks. It's just going to give life and vitality to the painting. And that's what you want. You want to create a feeling or an essence of the place that you've just captured. This is why I think plein air paintings are better than photographs. I'm more likely to look at these as well, especially if I'm going to hang it on my wall. If I was creating this artwork as a studio painting, I'd still paint it in the same way as I'm doing right now, but then after it had dried, I would have started adding a bit more detail. However, with my studio paintings these days, I don't go overboard with the detail because I like the looseness and expressive brushwork, as it just helps to create an atmospheric painting, and as I say, gives it lots of life and vitality to it. I consider myself a realism painter, but not necessarily a detail painter. Now here I was painting the sky, and skies are some of the lightest values to be found in the landscape. And for this I was using a mix of ultramarine blue with a dash of phthalo green and some titanium white. As the light was disappearing quickly, I wanted to get the canvas covered as quickly as possible. And that's what I'm doing here. I'm just trying to get everything covered, and then I can just start working in the suggestion of a bit of detail. But I really was up against time here, as the sun was soon going to be setting. And that's one of the things about painting outdoors, is it actually teaches you to paint quickly. But as I say, again, you could do this in the exact same way in the studio, so it's not essential that you paint outdoors. I just happen to love painting outdoors, especially if the weather's nice. Now, as the theme of this video is about simplicity and painting simple landscapes, I just wanted to share my thoughts on it a little bit. I've actually found over the years that when I've simplified my landscapes, they actually just look more engaging, and they're also easier to paint. And I actually had a conversation with an artist I really like, and his name is Frank Serrano. You should follow him on Instagram. But his paintings are incredible, yet they're so simple. He does do a lot of plein air painting, but also a lot of studio work. And there's not really any detail in his work at all, yet he's absolutely nailed his colours and values and his compositions. And his paintings have so much life and colour and beauty in them that I just absolutely love his work. Now, I once chatted with him on the phone, and he said to me about his paintings that it's not what he puts in his paintings but what he leaves out, and that he tries to say in one brush mark what it would take most artists 10 brush marks to say. That really stuck with me, and I'll try to be more mindful of this now every time I paint. Over the years as I've been painting, I've found that the more I simplify things, the easier it's become. So whether it's simplifying my landscape compositions, simplifying my colour palette by reducing the amount of colours that I use, simplifying my brushwork, everything seems to have improved greatly. Now, one of the things that's really helped me as well to create really engaging landscape paintings is to have a system to work towards. And if you're struggling with your landscapes, if you're struggling creating the paintings that you'd imagined, having difficulty with colour mixing, composition, and especially things like tonal values to be able to create depth and distance in your paintings, then check out my free landscape painting blueprint, where I detail my whole painting process that you can apply to your own artworks. And for me, when I learnt this process, it was an absolute game changer, and my artwork very quickly improved. As I say, I'm giving this away totally for free. Just click the link in the description box below and I'll send it over to you. Enjoy. Now, I was racing against time a little bit just because the sun was fast disappearing, and I was working on the trees that are in the midground here. So one of the things about composition is we don't want to have our focal area in the middle. So I've made the focal area, which is this group mass of trees, more to the right of centre. It just helps to make the painting a little bit more engaging. And I'm really just painting the suggestion of trees. There's not really any real detail in them. The main thing I wanted to capture was the colours and the tonal values. I also really wanted to capture the essence of some of these winter trees. And for this I used a mix of burnt sienna with some titanium white, a little bit of ultramarine blue, some alizarin crimson, and just a small amount of yellow ochre. I also varied up the colour mixtures a little bit and applied some broken colour. This is where I'm not mixing the colours together thoroughly. For the other trees there, I used a mix of yellow ochre with cadmium yellow medium, ultramarine blue, titanium white, a little bit of phthalo green, and a little bit of alizarin crimson. And again, I'm keeping in mind that trees are some of the darkest values in the landscape, so some of these shadows in the trees are pretty dark. Now, at this point, I wanted to paint the suggestion of a few branches and stems in these poplar trees that are near to the foreground. And what I'm doing here is I'm using a number 0 rigger brush. This is an ivory rigger made by Rosemary & Co. And if you want to get some Rosemary & Co. brushes, I'll put a link in the description box below. But I just wanted to get some fine marks here just to paint the suggestion of a network of branches. I'm thinking about trying to get this finished now, so just adding in these last little details here. So this could be a few highlights to the grass. Also there's patches of grass where there's more straw coloured grass, and I also wanted to get some red elements into the grass as well, because red is opposite to green on the colour wheel, so having that colour opposite just helps to add more harmony to the painting overall. And then there was things like tidying up the shapes of these trees, so perhaps adding a little bit of highlight to the tree canopies, just reinforcing the shadows as well, restating the dark values, which I do towards the end of the painting. And then in general I'll save my lightest values till right the very end of the painting, so I'm just building up those tones as I work through the painting, starting off a bit darker and then adding my lighter values as I work through the painting. So just to recap here, we don't need to overcomplicate our landscape paintings at all, and as you can see this one's pretty simple. The focal area is the group mass of trees, there's lots of green in the fields as well, which is making the painting look rich and beautiful. And overall I'm just finishing it up with adding some last details. I really enjoyed painting this artwork, and when I've been looking at it back at home in my studio, it really invokes a sense of peace within me. Also a good fond memory as I was painting with my artist friend Andrew Tischler. So I hope you can see from this painting that you don't need to make your landscapes complicated. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one.